Hello, everybody. I'm seeing a lot of comments in here. Thank you to everybody that's came to what is our second live stream. I've only done this one other time. We haven't been too proactive with the live streams, but I'm going to try to do them more here going forward. It's kind of something fun and easy. It's great to see everybody. Thank you for all the comments so far. Definitely some funny comments in here. Let's see, who's all saying stuff right now. This is just nuts. I haven't been live in forever. We are going to announce the giveaway winners from our Black Friday sale. That was the idea behind doing a live stream. Just say hi and let everybody know how thankful we are for everything that you guys have done and supporting us. Super fun to give away a set of these new 720 clamps from Ramosi, and we also are giving away a handful of gift cards to the store, which is great. Let's see, I can check some comments here. I see a couple on the 400EX. The 400EX is definitely going to be priority here over the winter. I guess just a quick recap, we kind of just put getting new parts on the back burner and focused on riding here for the bulk of the year. We all know the status of the parts industry and everything, and it just kind of sucked that stuff was kind of hard to get. You know, you're kind of looking at things, you don't know when it's going to show up, and we just took a break from it, and now is the time to get some things. So we'll definitely be looking to order some stuff in the coming weeks. And I have new pipes for the Raptor and YFC. Rossier was kind enough to sponsor us with the new R5 exhaust systems, so we're gonna swap out the R4s with the R5 exhaust, and hopefully do that in the coming weeks. I got to hit up Jay at Illinois Power Sports, and hopefully we can do that. I'm super excited to see that exhaust system. They're still in the box, haven't even opened them. So let's see. I could try to answer some questions. I see Doc Atrox saying, glad I didn't come in like Square One Speed Channel over my back. That was a funny moment. Ian will never live that one down. Let's see. How about a December ride? Yeah, this is crazy. I'm in southern Minnesota, and we have not had any snow yet. I mean, I think we had a dusting a while ago, but it has been unseasonably warm, like in the 50s here. I mean, this is crazy. So I know it's going to start getting cold, and I'm definitely hoping to do more snow riding this year. And I was actually just looking for more forced snow tires, but those seem to be back ordered. So just like half the stuff you look at, you just don't know when it's going to arrive. But we're definitely going to get out and play in the snow, so hopefully that comes. And I'd like to do some studded tire content as well. So let's see, there's questions coming in. People from all over, thank you guys, this is so cool. Did we delete the emissions on the YFC? I know that it's been disabled more or less. I haven't done the AIS delete or removal, like the hardware's still there, but it's not functioning with the Vortex. Lots of people from Jersey, I see. Who thinks we should do a ride in Las Vegas this winter? Man, that'd be so cool to go there when it's not 110 degrees. That'd be an awesome place to come rip. I wouldn't put the force nut tires on the YFC. They don't like a huge beating. You know, I've kind of thought about that because they are a pretty big tire. I definitely prefer the can't talk. I definitely prefer the Raptor in the snow. The YFC, you know, it just doesn't have that torquey power plant that the Raptor does. So, but I do want to get out and play with the snow. I'm hoping we get just a couple inches. Sport quads are definitely the most fun when you only have a little bit of snow. Once you start pushing those front tires, the machine works really, really hard, and I just kind of feel like I'm beating on it. So, looks like somebody gave us a shout out here. YF She gave us $2. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. out of 3 quads, which is your favorite? Oh, there's another one there. How old am I? I'm 31. The 3 quads, which is my favorite? That is super hard to decide. I can't really pick favorite machines. It really depends on what we're doing with them. I tend to kind of geek out and have fun no matter what I'm riding. I really enjoy the Raptor when we're in like completely new places. I spent probably about a year's worth of time deciding between the Raptor and the YFC when I initially got the Raptor. And for my environment, the Raptor just made a lot more sense for that kind of free riding, anything kind of goes. It's a very reliable machine, and it's just super. It's just a really easy machine to ride. You can kind of use it everywhere. So I definitely prefer the Raptor when it comes to being in a new environment. But if I'm pushing myself, I always enjoy being on the YFC because it's just a bit safer for me. Unfortunately, spills are a part of it. And if you saw the 400X video, I definitely got chucked off that at the end, and I'd say that probably wouldn't have happened, or would have been a lot less likely if I would have had a stabilizer on the 400X. So that's definitely one of the things we're going to put on the 400X here in the coming weeks or coming months this winter. So, you know, it really just depends on where we're at, how I'm feeling. If I'm super tired, or just like, you know, if we're on one of these trips and I could ride anything I wanted at the time, I really do enjoy the Raptor because it's very effortless. The YFC is kind of a hard ride if you're not pushing it. So if you're just kind of cruising and chilling, the Raptor's so easy, and the YFC doesn't really like to go slow. It's kind of like off on, you know. And then the 400X is just, everybody knows what they're all about. I think everybody should ride one at some point. It's not about how much power you have. It's just a really user-friendly machine to ride as well. And they're just so reliable. The running joke is, you know, it's probably the one quad that would run without oil, you know. There's so many comments. Holy cow, Docatrox, $50. Dang, thank you, RJ. Wow, that is awesome. Thank you for the donation, man. Is anybody else wearing a Pete Hager shirt? Yeah, these are our 250R shirts. It's probably my favorite shirt right now. Just always wanted to do kind of a black themed line tracing shirt. We're actually going to stop kind of focusing on these line tracing shirts and do more with, I'd like to add more depth to the shirts with more color. So maybe reach out to some different artists locally and try to get just kind of some higher quality artwork done for maybe our next t-shirt run. We don't really have a plan on merch right now. Need to make sweatshirts. Oh man, we did look into sweatshirts. I just couldn't believe how much overhead, like how much upfront cost there is to get like a bulk run of sweatshirts. It costs thousands of dollars just to get an order placed. So we definitely have talked about the idea, and it would be nice actually. So I'll definitely keep that in mind. Big fan, never miss any of your videos. 73. Holy cow, 73 and you're ripping? That is awesome, dude. I love riding with the older guys because they ride smart. Just follow their lead and you're safe, you know. Plus they're smooth. Old guys are smooth. Let's see. What was your first quad? The first quad, that was a Polaris Magnum 325, which my dad still has and still uses. That thing has been through the ringer. It was a 2002 or 2003 Magnum 325. And I was 12 or 13 when we got that machine, and I remember just doing laps until it was probably out of gas in the yard. I mean, just rode and rode and rode and rode until I was old enough to explore the neighborhood a little bit more. And then after that, I had a Scrambler 500. That was a pretty awesome machine. A big upgrade. Actually, I was fortunate to do a couple big jumps. I mean, I rode the Magnum for several years, got the Scrambler, and it was like, wow, this thing is crazy. Rode that for several years until I really was riding the tires off of it, and the thing was in pretty rough shape. And then I actually graduated high school when the KTMs came out, and I was kind of at the peak of the sport quad era, which was 2008. At that point, there was pretty much every major manufacturer was making performance sport ATVs. And once again, you know, way back to 2008, I was like, what do I want to do? Do I want to get a Raptor or a YFC? And that KTM came out. And it was more money, but I thought of it as such a happy medium. It was like, you know, kind of that bigger bore, torquey power plant, kind of like a Raptor, but the ergonomics of a YFC. So I was like, oh, like KTM, that's a pretty wild machine. And ended up getting it, but it was unfortunately a bit of a maintenance nightmare. So it was an awesome machine to ride. So it went from the Magnum to the Scrambler 500 to the KTM. Rode the KTM for 3 or 4 years, went through a lot of motor rebuilds with that machine. I actually rolled it quite a few times. The machine itself was very reliable as far as how tough it was. It was a really durable quad, like the frame and everything, but the internals on the motor, man, it just did not like a lot of hours. And at the time, we were doing a lot of ditch riding, and ditch riding is pretty high demand. It's just a lot of kind of higher RPM for long periods of time. We used to ride, you know, easily 100 miles in a day, just from town to town, and you're just, you know, fifth gear a lot. It's just a lot of, it just wasn't a good quad for that. So ended up getting out of the sport for a while. In my early 20s, probably didn't ride for 4 or 5 years, and then decided I wanted to get back into it, and that was when I jumped on the Raptor. And that's pretty much, since I've had the Raptor, I started making GoPro videos that fall after I got it. and almost every ride I ever did with the Raptors on the channel, which is pretty crazy. Yeah, it's just happened so fast. Like I said, I love riding with the older guys because they make me realize, like, you can do this for so long, but it is important to ride smart, and if you're going to push yourself, unfortunately, you're gonna go down now and then. So, sorry, I can definitely ramble.
Do you want to do some giveaway?
Yeah, actually, that's a good idea. I do have Connor here with me. He's gonna kind of keep me on track, but we're just hanging out this evening. I definitely want to talk about the giveaway. So we did our Black Friday sale. Let's see, it was every merch or every shirt that was bought was an entry, and then every $20 spent on parts was an entry towards winning a free set of the new 720 SBC clamps. And then I want to say we're doing like 5 or 6 $50 gift cards. I think like 5 gift cards to the store for $50. So we're not gonna make this a big dramatic entrance or announcement. Oh, good. Oh, YFC sheet. Another $2 donation. Thank you, man. The winner of the 720 SBC clamps is Grayson McBlair from Washington. So congratulations to him. I'm just super stoked for anybody to try these new clamps out. And I'm actually going to hopefully put together like a little install kind of recap video of my experience with those clamps here soon. Just to kind of show them more in depth and in a more candid environment so you guys can see them. Obviously, there's lots of anti-vibe products on the market, but I'm just excited that Hermosi made something new, and we had a handful of people take advantage of the sale, which I think is still going, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can still get these 720 clamps 25% off, which is a pretty sweet deal. So we have them on our website, and the throttles are still discounted too. So yeah, congratulations to Grayson McBlair for winning the 720 SBC clamps, and we're going to go through our 5 $50 gift card winners and where they're from here. We have Megan Davis from Indiana, won a $50 gift card. Joseph Carini from Illinois. It's getting I don't have to say $50. These are all $50 gift card winners. Kyle Rice from New Jersey. Anthony Sedita from New Jersey. And Mark Perza from Pennsylvania. So congratulations to everybody that has won something from our giveaway here. I know we'll be sending emails out and reaching out to everybody, but it's just super fun to give back, and you guys made the Black Friday sale super awesome. Could not believe the turnout on the website. Any of the extra funds that we will have made from the sale is definitely going into the next parts investments for the machines here this winter. We had gotten away from doing parts upgrades, but I'm going to start trying to get some things in motion again. So definitely stay tuned through the off season, and we definitely got to start putting parts in that 490X. So, YFC asked if I'll ever get a Banshee. I've been waiting for the right opportunity to at least ride a Banshee. Stupid Fast John told me I could have ridden his in a little Sahara, and I didn't I didn't jump on the opportunity. And I think Dune Man offered me to ride his too, and I was just like, man, that thing is, they're just so nice. I know it's kind of unrealistic, but I'd like to ride like a kind of a stockish Banshee first. I don't want to get on one that's like, all souped up in the bee's knees, because I just want that real impression of what it is, and then try something more special. But as far as owning one, I mean, I know that you have to know what you're doing as far as maintaining them, and I just don't have any two-stroke ownership experience, so maybe someday, but it definitely would be fun to at least experience one. And I will say that the Banshee probably has like the best exhaust note. I mean, it's so interesting. I watched a video of Nick Janusa ripping one on Rip It Up Film shared one the other day, and I was just like, dude, that thing there's just such a unique sound to the Banshee. So I definitely would like to maybe ride one this upcoming year. That'd be awesome. Like I said though, something that isn't just like 80 horsepower. Let's see. I could try to answer more questions. I'm going to drink some water here. Did you end up getting the winners up on there? Oh, awesome. They are on there. Cool. Let's see. Oh, John said I can ride it anytime. Yeah, I don't know. I have to make sure I know what I'm doing. I don't need to dump someone's machine here. Banshee, you got to know what you're doing with the Banshee. Let's see. What other questions do we have here right now? Some guy said he likes eggs. I love eggs, man. I eat eggs every day. he's got to stock them with just pipes. See, like, that's what I'm talking about. And, like, I know that Banshees aren't, they don't have the best reputation for how they handle, but I do think that it's, like, such a, from what I hear, it's just such a dramatic experience on a Banshee. It's just such an on-off, like, they're just savage. It's probably the best way to describe them. So, heading towards Silver Lake this summer. Oh, there's David. How's it going, David? Yeah, it'd be great to get over to Silver Lake. I actually really enjoy going to Silver Lake. It's not my first pick for where I'd like to go ride. I actually would love to do like a weekday evening ride at Silver Lake. I'd love to watch the sunset. Unfortunately, I haven't seen the sunset without a cloudy sunset at Silver Lake, but I just love the atmosphere of that place. It's so small, and it's, you know, kind of organized chaos, for lack of a better word. I just love like the vehicle scene, and you just could see anything out there, and it's just like you're not going to get lost, you're not going to get separated from your group at Silver Lake because it's so small. So it would be really fun to get over there. What I really would like to do is just ride more trail in Michigan in general. I swear that whole state is sand. A lot of the sand trail all kind of looks the same, but it's just never-ending sand snakes through the woods, and you guys have a lot of 50-inch trail there, which is awesome because the side-by-sides haven't destroyed it all. So definitely want to get over there again. Let's see. Will we come to Iowa this spring? I would love to get down to Iowa more. There's a lot of ride parks down there. You know, this year was just interesting. Yeah, I would like to get down to Iowa this year. There's definitely, you know, there's like a really good reputation for a lot of the OHV parks in Iowa. So it's not that far from us. I just haven't prioritized the trips yet, but definitely looking to do more new places. You know, I kind of did a lot of repeat venues this year, and just kind of need to change it up a little bit. I see YFC I'm struggling with this guy's name. YFC. Why do the video uploads take so long? So that's really interesting. Kind of in a nutshell, a lot of these big trips and bigger videos I was making are cut down from what could be, you know, 3 to 5 hours worth of video. I started making the bigger videos about a year ago, and it was a fun challenge for myself at the time, and I was just kind of testing the waters with, you know, how big of a video could I make. And I went from just recording at certain times to, I guess you could say, recording the entirety of the day. And I started doing that because I didn't want to miss anything. And there's been value in that, but it also just takes me forever to go through everything and to pick and choose and to lean out the content. So I'm kind of starting to get away from that a little bit, at least when we start filming stuff going forward. It's just taking too long, and I would like to make the videos a lot faster. It just becomes a lot of helmet cam to consume, and I just try to make every video as good as I can with what I have. Eventually I have to draw the line on it, but that's kind of been the main reason, and that's why I'd like to make the video a little bit shorter going forward, because if it's a shorter video, I can make it a lot faster. So yeah, I guess that's definitely something I'm trying to do here in the coming months. Let's see, what other comments do we have? Oh, Brewer's in here. Pete is live. I know, this is a rare thing, isn't it? Let's see. Raptor 250 with a full Empire exhaust, age 11. Actually, I was just talking to Connor that I rode AJ, or a friend of mine, AJ, his son has a Raptor 250, and I forgot that I have video of that. So I actually test rode a Raptor 250, and it was pretty amazing little machine, actually. I was surprised how much fun it was. So that's some content that I'm looking to edit up and probably put out here by the end of December. So that'd be pretty fun. Let's see. Go ride with Ian down in Arizona. Man, I want to go to Arizona so bad because I know it's just like Groundhog Day, 75 and sunny there right now. It's just an epic place. It's just so far away. I mean, we straight through drove to Arizona. I think that was pushing it was like 26 hours to get to Lake Havasu. To go down to Yuma to ride with Ian, I mean, be like a 30-hour deal with stops. It's just a long time. So we got to plan that trip right, and unfortunately, I don't think it's going to happen this this winter season for Glamis and whatnot. But next year, we got to get back. That place is insane. It's like you could ride down there your whole life and barely scratch the surface. I feel just that whole region, just wild, so rugged down there. Let's see, is the YFC worth buying? Yeah, I mean, that's just kind of interesting. I guess it really just comes down to your needs. I mean, if I think about if I had one machine in the garage, I mean, I've tried to prioritize going and riding new places. So when I am riding somewhere new, I guess the best example I could give as of late would be like when we went to the Badlands. You know, that video itself is fairly slow paced because it's so exploratory. But like, I wasn't about to take risks in an environment that's kind of a free for all like that. You just don't know what could happen. So, you know, the YFC is an awesome machine. It really does come down to what you're going to do with these quads. I've been meaning to, if anything, make a video now that I've had so much time with the YFC and kind of like what I love about both machines. The YFC is it's such an on-off machine, and if you're ripping tracks or if you're jumping, if you're riding really aggressively, like that is what that thing wants to do. If you're kind of more exploratory, like I like to go do now and then too, if you don't know where you're going to be, how fast you're going to go, or how long you're going to be riding, you know, if I'm going to sit on a machine all day and we're not going to be going too crazy, then the Raptor is going to be a way better option for me as far as comfort and practicality. Like I said, the YFC, man, it just does not like to go slow. It's just like I want to go or not go. There's lots of questions here. Nick Bainton, do you ever ride dirt bikes, or have you always been into ATVs? I guess I could kind of shed some light on that. Growing up, I actually was definitely attracted to dirt bikes more. I don't know why. I guess I grew up kind of like hitting jumps on BMX bikes and stuff. I think a lot of us did that growing up. But the dirt bike thing, unfortunately, I had some negative experiences with the times I did ride bikes as a teenager, and I dumped a couple of them. Road rashed myself pretty good. I guess the combination of that, and then I remember just watching old riding videos back in the day, like old Huevos H-Bombs videos. I just loved watching like quads power slide, and I loved watching the shocks and the tires and everything move, and it's just such a dramatic thing to watch, and the ATV just all of a sudden kind of became more appealing to me. I do mountain bike quite a bit, and I have in recent years thought about how fun it would be to ride like actual single track on a dirt bike, because I really love mountain biking. So, you know, maybe someday. Unfortunately, dirt bikes have a kind of a rough rite of passage as far as, you know, you're gonna go down on a dirt bike pretty regularly. I've ridden with some very good riders, and I watched them crash right in front of me, and that's just kind of the nature of the beast. And unfortunately, I have dealt with injuries over the last couple years, and sometimes that's slowed things down, and trying to stay safe, and I just don't want to put myself in a situation where I could, you know, hurt myself on a dirt bike because they're so capable. I mean, nothing's really faster off-road than a dirt bike. They're unbelievable. So maybe someday. I do think I would like to ride a trials bike, because I feel like I could get in a little less trouble with that. I guess we'll see. Let's see. I see a highlighted comment. I see my name. It's Ian. He's ridden a ton in Arizona, and he hasn't covered 1% of what's out there. I mean, yeah, it just blew my mind. I just had never been to the Southwest until we went on that trip, and I could not believe how great it was. Are you going to get a sport utility ATV someday? You know, I thought about the Renegade for a long time. I prefer the Renegade over the Scrambler. The Renegade seems like you can actually kind of maneuver the thing. The Scrambler is just huge. The Scrambler 1000 is just this giant machine. I don't know if it's just its stance or what it is about it, but the sport utilities definitely have their place. Like, I love watching Asta Cruiser. Granted, what they're riding is insane, and they're going through the bogs up in Canada, but just watching, you know, like the sport 4x4s, I mean, everybody kind of knows that I do tend to avoid the mud, mainly because I don't want to clean everything. But, you know, cleaning aside, it would be pretty fun to have a machine that's fairly mud capable and to go out and just, you know, just to do that now and then. But it's really hard on your machine. You got to really get them cleaned up if you're going to go out and bog them. So if I were to get a sport utility, it would definitely be a Scrambler. I really wish that more would have happened with the IRS sport quads like the Outlaw and the Honda 700XX. I do think it was a pretty cool concept, and I was fortunate enough to ride my friend AJ's Outlaw, and I thought that thing was actually pretty unique experience. I have not ridden a 700XX. I've seen a few of them. I just haven't had an opportunity, I guess you could say. But the IRS Outlaw that's a really weird machine in like a really cool way. Like, there was just no surprises riding that. It it was more effective than I expected it to be. I was kind of leery on it because I didn't know how it would handle some things. You know, I'm pretty used to a straight axle, so to get on something like that, it just had different characteristics. But if I was to go ride really rough stuff, you know, like once again, Arizona for an example, we were at Havasu, man, like an IRS Outlaw would be unbelievable there. So, say I change the topic here. Man, have I ever ridden an LTZ? Trying to think. I know I rode a Z400 years ago, back when I was ripping ditches. I had a friend, when I was on my Scrambler 500, a friend that had a Z400. I haven't really had the opportunity to ride any. Patrick Riggs offered to let me ride his, which his is just phenomenal. Like, the thing is so nice. He had offered, I want to say when we were at Bone Valley. I tend to only want to kind of ride or test any other machines if I'm pretty fresh. I've unfortunately in my life hurt myself a few times at the end of the day, so I'm really trying to always use my best judgment when it comes to getting on someone else's machine and to make sure I'm fresh. So that day I was just like probably more tired than I realized. We're in the Florida heat, and I just didn't jump on his LTZ. That would have been a great one to ride. I am hoping to go to Florida here in the coming months if we can swing it, and I would love to jump on Patrick's Z400 if he still has it. I'm pretty sure he does. Let's see what else we have here. Out of all the quads you have test ridden, which is the best? Oh man, that is such a loaded question. I don't even know if I can answer that. It really, I think my favorite thing about riding lots of these different machines is how unique they are. Like, they all have their own feel. Like, it would be really hard to pick between like the Raptor and the YFC if they were really similar. They're pretty vastly different. I'd say one of the machines I really would like to have a new experience with would be the LTR 450. Those are just really pretty rare and few and far between. Unfortunately, I see the kind of relationship or the status of the LTR is that they're phenomenal machines to ride, but tough to maintain, unfortunately. They don't have the best reputation for that, so I feel like that's why I don't see them very often. But ergonomically, they're supposed to be amazing. I'd say if I think about an experience I had that was like crazy unique, it would be riding that X-Travel TRX. I feel like that was kind of obvious that maybe that would be one that I would pick, but that was just such a different thing. It was like just being on this giant sport quad. It was just a weird experience, but in like a really cool way. I definitely would have liked to have ridden that more, definitely. I see a comment about a KFX. Yes, the KFX 700. Man, that is a really bizarre machine. I always joke that they're supercharged. They sound like they're supercharged. But the KFX 700, I've never ridden a quad that wants to wheelie. It's just like if you were to make a muscle car quad, KFX 700, that's just like what that thing feels like. What do you think about quad hate from dirt bikers? The dirt bike community, I don't know why it can be as toxic as it is. I do feel like I see more of that in that community, unfortunately. It's very competitive. For some reason, I just feel like a lot of the quad guys are pretty down to earth and chill, and we're just out having fun. But I've ridden with plenty of dirt bikers that are really cool, too. I'd say the main beef that you see is just the whole track riding debate, but, we ride the tracks differently. They're designed differently, and they need and want their ruts for the corners, and we blow them out. So, I don't know. I think that it's important to keep us separate at times for safety reasons, especially on a track. Like, you can ride commingled, but they're just different disciplines, you could say. And I guess as far as I can remember, at least within the social media world, unfortunately, you just see toxicity in that community, and I think it's just a part of it. I don't know. It's kind of a bummer. Let's see. Would I do any XC racing? If I were to race, that would definitely be what I would like to do, because I raced cross country on mountain bikes for a couple seasons. I really enjoyed the personal challenge of cross country racing. I also grew up downhill ski racing, so I have raced quite a bit in my life. I'm just kind of an all-in person when it comes to that. I mean, you got to really be committed. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to put everything I can into it. So that's a big time commitment. I also know that when you're racing, and because of my lack of experience racing quads, it's one thing to go out and ride at kind of a high level within your means, but when you're racing and you're in the heat of the moment and the adrenaline's going, it just doesn't take much at times to take an unnecessary risk to an extent. So I do worry about, hurting myself. Parts can be fixed, quads can be fixed, but with how much time I've spent having to rehab some injuries I've already had since starting the channel up regularly, would really like to do it, but it just may not be real soon yet. I guess it's hard to say. I definitely am kind of yearning for something like that, though, to compete again. But it would definitely be cross country, that's for sure. There's such a endurance aspect to that. It's like can you survive, and will the machine survive? It's kind of nuts. You should get a Ram TRX. If you want to sponsor us and get us a Ram TRX, I would love to drive a Ram TRX. What is the plan for the 400EX? Yes, that's unfortunately was just kind of put on the back burner because it seemed like some of the stuff we were looking at the time was just unavailable as far as parts. The 400EX was definitely purchased as kind of I guess for a handful of reasons. We wanted a backup machine for some of these bigger trips. Connor's been a huge part of this. Connor helps run our website and our social media, and he's just been, helped in the last year or so when it comes to just capturing and just making this as good as it can be. So, Connor has had a unique experience because he did not do any of this prior to helping. He was complete greenie to riding ATVs. So he's ridden a lot of unique stuff and started out on stuff that was very overkill for him. And I was very nervous the first handful of times Connor rode because these machines can hurt you if you don't respect them. And he always has done a good job, but it's just so much for him to ride, like the Raptor or the YFC. He doesn't need all that performance because he's still, he's becoming a more experienced rider. So now it's like, let's get him something that's more appropriate that he can grow on. Because I didn't start out riding on these machines. I started on a Magnum 325. I think it's important to start with something simple. And once you can ride the tires off that, you just kind of work your way up. It doesn't make any sense to start out with the bee's knees, most amazing thing. If you don't have the foundation for it, you're just asking for trouble. So the 400EX has been a great machine as a backup for these long trips. It could happen where we drive 12 hours and maybe the quads don't turn on and we're there and we're ready to go, or maybe one doesn't turn on or one's not running right. So the quads ran well at Little Sahara and it was pretty choppy, so that's why we didn't ride the 400EX there. I guess going forward here with the 400EX, the plan would be to make it fit Connor better, but we are kind of trading the machines around, and he's half a foot taller than me. So it's interesting. I guess I see him being on that machine more because he really enjoys riding it. So maybe increase the controls and ergonomics for him a little bit. Maybe with just a taller steering stem, taller bars. I'd like to get a better platform for your feet, as far as a Nerf bar peg combination for the 400EX. I definitely see a lot of value in maybe spending more money on those parts that you're connected to. I mean, that's what you're touching all day, and I just think you spend that extra money, it goes a long way. So it'd be nice to get nice Nerf bars and pegs for it, and then upgrade the shocks. It definitely needs a stabilizer. I noticed that right away when I get on it. It's just like when you ride with stabilizers, I guess I've used the analogy, it's kind of like power steering almost for a sport quad, you could say. It's interesting. They're not a necessity. You don't have to have them, and you don't have to have these top shelf ones. I think anything that's going to help dampen and just take the load off yourself. I mean, you can really jack yourself up when those front tires bite, and if you want to watch me crash, it's in that 400EX video I just uploaded. I definitely took a good wipeout. So stabilizer for the 400EX, maybe get the ergonomics a bit better for Connor since he's on it more. Oh yeah, definitely got to get an exhaust for it. We're looking at options for that. We're going to look into HMF potentially. The Curtis Sparks pipes, I don't know why I've liked those. I've always liked those pipes. I thought that'd be kind of cool. Or maybe we'll get a Rossier for it. I just really like kind of the racy vibe of the Rossier pipes. And then I really think the Forework seat covers are great. It'd be great to get one of those for the Raptor too. Get one of those on the 400EX. I love kind of its stockish look. It'd be cool to put graphics on it potentially, but I don't want to overdo it. The YFC's super busy. I'd like to keep the 400EX, kind of that traditional bug eye look, but just enhance it and make it more comfortable to ride. So those are things we'll probably work towards in the coming months here now that it's kind of the off season. Someone mentioned Curtis Sparks pipes. Yeah, I don't know. They're super sharp, and whenever I hear them in person, Curtis Sparks pipes, they just sound awesome. They look really cool. YFC started on his Banshee. I'm glad you're still here, man. That's quite the machine to start on. Is the steering stabilizer hard to install? Super easy on on the Raptor, but it was a nightmare on the YFC. There's just super limited clearance. So I think they're very easy to install for the most part, but the YFCR precision steering stabilizer, that's kind of tricky, but totally worth it. Let's see. Give Connor a year, he'll be an A-class racer. You know, I will say that for how little ride time Connor has had, he has progressed pretty well. I think it's important to surround yourself with people with a better ability at times. You can learn a lot riding behind a really good rider. Just watching their body language and mimicking what they do. When I grew up ski racing, I was always trying to follow the fastest kids down the hill, and you just try to emulate them. And there's a lot of benefit to riding with people at a high level, and we all kind of look out for each other. It just, the sport, you have to be on your toes, especially when you're in unfamiliar areas. It just happens all too often. You go somewhere new and you get all stoked and you don't know where you're at. You come over something and you just, there could be a hole in the trail, there could be a rut, something you didn't see. So it's just important to always ride within your means. Let's see. When I order the R5, do I have to have the Raptor tuned? If you're going to do a full system on an EFI machine, you should definitely look into at least getting, a box preset tune on it. Thankfully, with the Raptor, they work really well with the Power Commander. Unfortunately, the YFCs have an interesting reputation when it comes to doing fuel controllers. It kind of really depends on what you're going to do to them. But yeah, with an EFI machine, I mean, if you want to get maximum performance and make sure it's running well, I definitely recommend looking for a local tuner and getting it set up. But you could always just, especially with the Raptor, just get a PC5 and go to Dynajet's website and find a tune that should, hopefully work for your setup, or reach out to I see lots of people recommending Corvo racing tunes and whatnot for the Raptor. Extended swing arm for the Raptor. If the Raptor had any more power, I think it would definitely need one. Man, it's been so long since I've even referenced it. I think the Raptor was right around 60 horsepower. I think if you were to put any more into that on a stock swing arm, it would really be wanting to pick the front end up quite a bit. That's why we had done a 7-paddle scat for it, so that there'd be a little more slip within the tires. We didn't want a ton of traction from the paddle tires. But from my experience with these scat tracks, at least the setup that I had, I mean, absolutely phenomenal in a straight line. But the buffed tires, they just, at least with the balloon shape of them, the thing just wouldn't power slide at all. So when we went to Little Sahara this year, I picked up those Sand Geckos. I wanted to get Sand Stars, but they've been back ordered and back left for a 9-inch rim every time I've checked for half a year. So yeah, the Sand Geckos worked really good on the Raptor. I thought they were fine, but scat tracks, if you're racing or anything, man, those are just awesome tires. They're so light. They definitely do the job. But yeah, as far as the Raptor, I think I'm not really looking to add any more to it. I just wanted it to have the performance to kind of offset the power loss in the sand. And I remember when I told Jay I wanted a very reliable setup, but I wanted to beat up on Big 3 Raptors when the opportunity was there. So that was kind of the idea behind it. I'm not much for drag racing though. Sometimes it's fun, but I don't know. I'm always just ripping around. Do steering stabilizers make turning harder to steer? It depends on where you put the settings of it. If you put them on their stiffest or firmest setting, you can pretty much lock out the steering to the point where you can't even turn the bars. You kind of have to fine tune it and dial it in as far as how much resistance you're going to want. I tend to have mine kind of on the softer side. I don't know if it's the best analogy to use, but I've kind of used the analogy of like a seatbelt with the stabilizer. It's there when you need it. So if you kind of dial them in fairly soft, but you get, a real hard impact or something, it's going to react and help you. But you can pretty much dial them into where you barely feel it. If anything, it's kind of nice to feel it a little bit because it tends to make everything really smooth. That's kind of that power steering sensation. And I definitely have kicked myself for a long time as far as not getting a stabilizer, a long time ago when I was in my late teens, early 20s riding. Who knows how many times I got chucked off the wheeler because I didn't have a stabilizer on there. Probably would have helped me a lot. Especially with our ditch riding. It's kind of crazy to think how much riding we've done, 4th and 5th gear riding in grass. It could be up to a foot long. You just don't know what's in the grass. I mean, there could be a big rock that a farmer chucked in there. something could have fell out of someone's vehicle. There could be something in the grass. So like to hit something at speed without a stabilizer, man, they just really give you so much confidence. I used to really talk about them all the time. I think I even burned myself out on talking about stabilizers, but they really are like, if you could have one part on your quad, that's probably the one I see the most benefit in, and helping me the most, that's for sure. Let's see. Ever go riding in the Northeast? I've not been out to the Northeast. The Northeast has got a really strong racing scene from what I've seen. I'm hopefully a lot of you guys have seen on One Wheel 7's channel. He's covered like the cross-country racing scene in the Northeast very, very well. At least the whole kind of eastern side of the country seems to have a pretty strong riding presence. It kind of depends on where you're at, but I would like to get out there. I know there's tons of places to go. I always have gotten recommendations to go to Pennsylvania. And I've been through like upstate New York and through Connecticut and stuff, and it's just beautiful country up there. I just don't know where we would go or when we would get up there. I guess I've always hoped to collaborate with on One Wheel 7 and maybe go wherever he could recommend, or I think there's a lot of track riding out there. I don't know how much there is for public land and ride parks, but have to do a lot of research to find that out. Let's see. Did you enjoy the rain ride? Oh man, that was such an interesting day. We were so stoked. I remember the night before, I was just like looking at the forecast because it's been so dry. This is like the driest year I can ever remember here. And we knew there was going to be storms that evening, and it was just according to the forecast, it was going to rain kind of the middle of the night and then be good to go in the morning. We left early. We were stoked. We got there. And the storms shifted, and it just rained and didn't stop raining, and we're sitting there where we were going to unload, and it's like, all right, I guess we'll go ride in the rain. And to just go ride in the rain is one thing, but to film in the rain, I was like, oh man, this is not going to be very practical at all. So definitely, it's just like, screw it, it's something different, let's do it. And the most frustrating part is we did the ride. I'd say the ride itself and its total was maybe an hour and 15 minutes. Who knows how long it was. It was probably about an hour and a half. And pretty much within 10 minutes of loading up and leaving, the sky completely broke. It went up 20 degrees. Blue skies. We had perfect day. It actually went from what was at the time we were riding, it was like 65 degrees. By the time we were back home, and I remember Brewer and I were washing the quads, it was like 90. Like, we were dying. So I'm glad we didn't ride in the heat, but if we would have just waited another hour, that day could have been a lot different, because we were originally going to go to Snake Creek after that, but we just didn't know we were going to ride in the rain. But I was pretty stoked that that video came out the way that it did, because it's just not something I'm going to do anytime soon. Let's see. Would you ever have a side-by-side? The one place I think side-by-sides look the most fun is definitely in the sand dunes. We totally had an awesome meetup at Little Sahara this year, and it would have been pretty convenient. I want to see our friend Richie, actually. Did he help haul stuff?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, when it comes to, like, posting up at the dunes or just kind of, like, setting up somewhere, it'd be really nice to have a side-by-side just for the hauling capabilities of everything. So if I were to get one, I would definitely probably lean towards a YXC. I just think they're kind of the coolest. I mean, I haven't done a lot of research on them, but those triples just sound awesome. And I'm kind of a sound guy, so I probably would just go for that based off the sound. But they're so big, and hauling them, I mean, I think we could fit one in our trailer, but that's all that would fit in there. So we'd have to get a bigger trailer. Bigger it is, the more expensive it is when you break it, all that stuff. So, oh, Sabo's in here. That's awesome. I hope Sabo's doing good. He had a surgery this week, so best wishes to Sabo, man. Crushing it with the builds right now. It's so fun to watch. Do they prevent them flipping? I wonder if that was stabilizer related. Once again, I can't say enough about the stabilizers, man. If you haven't ridden with one, I at least recommend getting, even if it's an entry-level priced one. Just they're so helpful. You'll be so happy you have it at certain times. Let's see. Man, there's quite a few questions in here. There's one about Florida. Florida, we're thinking late February. I think by that time we'll be kind of freaking out trying to get out of the cold. So that'd be really fun to get down there. Really like collaborating with Hermosi. And Florida vibe is just fun, man. that riding world is crazy down there. I never thought there'd be crazy riding in Florida, but just every person we meet is just so stoked about riding. It's really fun. And then I've become a bit of a sand junkie since traveling more, and I just love riding in the sand. It's forgiving. The machines stay fairly clean. You stay fairly clean. You lose a little bit of power, but I just love how, if you get a little sloppy on the trail, the sand is kind of like glue. It really slows you down easy, so you can kind of take more risk, I feel. But let's see. Let's see. And there's lots of questions in here. Get a three-wheeler. Definitely wouldn't do the three-wheeler. I think that would end badly for me. It'd be fun to ride one, but holy cow, would I go slow on a three-wheeler. Let's see. I see some discussion on hybrids. Hybrid quads are pretty awesome, actually. I mean, I don't have a ton of knowledge about them. I know that's a pretty unique era. I guess my mind goes to like the late 90s, early 2000s, before like the production 450s came out, and they were swapping dirt bike motors into the quads. They're all so cool and different looking. Modern day hybrids, I know I saw a post with Wrath Racing. They had put a brand new YZF motor in a YFC chassis, which is pretty cool. I was just talking to Cody Ankney about that the other day. It'd just be so cool if they started putting these modern engines in these machines. They don't have to update the geometry of all this stuff, but just, technology-wise, just to bring them up to the times. It's so unfortunate that there's no competition for Yamaha or incentive for them to change anything, and I'd assume their production is just kind of on cruise control. So, who knows? Maybe we'll get lucky. I'm not always thinking about, what's going to happen in the future. I used to kind of always think about that, but I'm just still grateful that Yamaha is supporting us in making these machines, and that you have the opportunity to get a brand new machine still. So let's just hope that they don't stop anytime soon. So let's see. What do you have on the Raptor? If you're curious about parts on any of the machines, I do normally have like the main machine I ride in the videos. There is a full parts list in the description of all those videos. And if you go to the more recent videos, that'll be the most up-to-date list. The Raptor has quite a bit of work done to it. I'm really hoping to get front end work done to it and upgrade the A-arms. I actually got YFCR shocks for it, some takeoffs that I'm hoping to have Ron revalve for the front end of the Raptor, and kind of set it up for long travel. So we got the YFC, and that kind of put the front end of the Raptor on hold, and then we got parts for that, and then we got the 490X, and just gonna get back into the parts thing here. I just kind of took a break from buying parts and whatnot. I just wanted to ride. So see a couple comments on Florida. I talked to Hermosi a while ago, and he was talking February-ish for Florida. I went down to Florida on a family trip last January, and it was actually kind of cold for Florida. I mean, it was in like the 60s every day. So it would have been great riding weather, but for just hanging out, it was kind of chilly. So I think I think February is a safer bet for Florida. I would love to get down to the Southwest, but it's just a long haul. It's like an extra 8 or 9 hours and going to Florida. It's crazy. Also hoping to do ride at the Badlands, I think, next spring. I loved that place, actually. It was just 95 degrees when we were there, and we made the best of it, but that was just so exhausting riding around, and it was so dusty. So I'm hoping to go to the Badlands maybe a little earlier in the season, and I just want to explore more of that place. I know it has a ton to offer, and it's just a great central location. We definitely want to start finding kind of our ideal places to hopefully have more meetups. Whether it's kind of maybe a quarterly thing, we aim to go to one of these places and just try to get the community together and do a meet and greet. So Little Sahara worked really well because it's a pretty central location, and we definitely want to go to the different parts. Like, I've been wanting to go to the Northwest forever, go ride the Oregon dunes and whatnot, but it's just that those west destinations are so far, and we've been looking into getting a more practical vehicle for this too. Just something with a little more weight behind it for pulling on the interstate. So still have lots of aspirations as far as places to go. Let's see. Lots of questions. So I see South Dakota. South Dakota, you can pretty much ride street legal there. There was a channel called Motoposh. Motoposh was one of the first, actually I think that was the first guy I'd ever seen use the term quad vlog. And And I remember watching some of his videos and was like, wow, this is nuts. Like, this guy's talking and riding. And then he's riding on the streets in Sioux Falls, I think, or I forget which city or Rapid City, South Dakota, or it doesn't matter. But unfortunately, he stopped uploading quite a while ago. I had always hoped he would, and had hoped maybe to go do a street ride with him someday. I don't know if that was possible, but South Dakota, I'd love to go to the Black Hills. Awesome, just scenery there. Be really cool. Let's see what other questions are on here. Harley Sportster engine in a quad. Man, that'd be nuts to put Harley engines in. I think I saw a video of like a Harley engine in a Raptor a while ago on social media. A lot of those bike engines are pretty heavy. Well, kind of depends on how you set them up. ATV Swap Garage out of Europe does crazy motor swaps. They make pretty cool machines, but a lot of them are street focused. Definitely be cool to see some, practical power plants. I always hear about guys doing like the Africa engine conversion. I think it's out of like a big enduro bike, but definitely be cool to see more custom motor swaps and stuff. But I definitely think there's a balance in having the right kind of weight and ergonomics and distribution of that weight. It's probably the one downside to the Raptor, I'd say, over like the YFC, is just the way it tends to like fly through the air and whatnot. The weight balance on that just isn't as even, I guess you could say. Put a turbo on the Raptor, that'd be something else. Making a project quad like Sabo does. I do not have the patience or time or the skills. Granted, it takes time to build the skills, but man, Mike has just got a knack for building, man. It is so fun to watch him put everything together. So much attention to detail, and I remember, let's see, the last one I watched on the 490X, there was just comments about him reclaiming the OEM parts and like reusing them, and I was just like, that is really awesome. Like, it's so cool to see something brought back to life, and I've been curious about the more mechanical side of things. Thought about getting into it more when I was like quite a bit younger, as like kind of a profession potentially, like wrenching, but I don't know. I've always been, I consider myself an operator, so I used to drive forklift prior to doing YouTube more regularly and full time. I think if I wasn't creating, I would still be looking to operate, whether it be driving some type of machinery. So wrenching wise, I just do my own basic maintenance for the most part, but I just kind of let the pros do their thing. There's a lot of rite of passage within wrenching. I mean, unfortunately, you got to learn the hard way a lot. And I don't know. I think maybe someday, but as of right now, I'm going to let Sabo be the professional that he is, and we can watch him build stuff. And maybe, just maybe, we will have him build something for our channel someday. That'd be really cool. But I know he's going to work on a Harley soon, and I'm stoked about that. So, let's see. Oh, I see a conversation about trucks. Yeah, the truck debate. I don't even want to open that can of worms, but something that's more heavy duty than a half-ton truck. Let's see. I see people. Yeah, I'm not going to start the truck debate. Sabo, I would trade some of my wrench power for your riding power. Yeah, maybe we can do a little back and forth and trade some information there. I am hoping to do a little more work in the coming year as far as doing some of my own maintenance and parts installs on some more complicated stuff. So I will be bugging you and referencing stuff. So it'll be fun, man. Let's see what else is in here. we still have. I forgot. We still have the winners up. Yeah, I'm over there. All right, good. I just want to make sure. And for people that did buy stuff at our store, just kind of do an intermission here. Thank you for all the support we had in our store over Black Friday. It was just great to see how many people purchase things, like to see the amount of stabilizers that went out. Like, I get so excited when someone grabs a stabilizer because it's just like such an awesome thing to have. And any of this anti-vibe stuff, I'm obsessed with those Hauser Pro Bounce nerfs. I really wish they made them for more machines, and they used to, but we all know the status of the industry, and a lot of Hauser's focus has moved on to side-by-side. So, the main front-running machine, the TRX and the YFC, are still got Hauser Pro Bounce nerfs, but, any of these parts that provide any damping and stuff, man, they just go such a long ways, especially if you're on a trip. I mean, I'm not in, like, riding condition for some of these trips. I mean, you go out and you ride for, like, 3-4 days in a row. Like, I'm just decimated. So these parts go a long ways in keeping me a lot more enthusiastic and safe on these trips. So everybody that bought stuff on our site, thank you so much. And it's just so fun to see the shirts go out and to know that people are repping the brand. It's just so priceless. So you guys rock, man. Thank you guys. Let's see if I can get a few more questions here. Let's see more stuff about trucks, staying away from trucks. Ever post more on TikTok? I think Connor did some stuff on TikTok a while ago as far as sharing some of the content, but that was quite a while ago. It's a lot. Just, I mean, like, I have a Facebook page started, but it's just a lot managing lots of social media. So I'm kind of just focused on YouTube for the most part. And then Instagram. And Connor's a big part in, you know, I just don't consume a lot of content on Instagram, so he's a great reference point to have because he uses the app quite a bit. Maybe TikTok stuff. I know it's became more popular, but I don't have the app. I just seemed like a bad idea. A lot of people are consumed by it. A question on utility quads. If it's got handlebars, I'm pretty much all over it. You know, I could see myself with a side-by-side someday, potentially for convenience as far as hauling things or just to maybe change it up, but like really I pretty much intend to hold on to handlebars as long as I can physically hold on to handlebars. There was a guy that told me, he's like, I'd rather ride a quad than drive a side-by-side. So as far as 4x4s go, I mean, those are crazy too, man. These new 1000cc fuel injected machines, well, they're not new anymore, but they're still just, they're wild quads. They're super capable. I've always thought it'd be fun to have something that is snorkeled more or less that you could, you know, really go anywhere with. But who knows? There's all sorts of cool stuff to get.
Difference between factory and original edition.
Oh, someone asked about throttles?
Yeah.
So your factory edition throttle and original edition are mostly throttle, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah.
The difference between them. So let's see. The factory edition, which is the more expensive of the two, comes with a lifetime warranty, and then there's extra locking screws on the throttle shaft, and it's made from a higher grade aluminum. So it's essentially more geared towards the racer. I know that I think it's happened few and far between. If you were to like really be riding your quad super aggressively with the original throttle, that maybe the throttle could jump on you because it has preset locations, but I think that's so few and far between. It really doesn't happen. People have been worried about, you know, their Mostly throttle potentially moving when they see the concept of it. But that spring is super snappy in the thumb portion. And I'd say which one is the best for you. I mean, the main value I see in the factory throttle, I mean, it's nice to have the extra locking screws, but I've had an original throttle on the Raptor for well over a year, and I've never had any issues with it. So I think the original could work well for people, but I also think warranties are awesome. So for not much more money, you can get that lifetime warranty with the factory throttle, and the throttles are still 25. Yeah. They're still 25% off on our website. So yes, the factory throttle has a serial number on the top, and yeah, I think those Mostly throttles are slick, man. They're really cool. Mostly's trying to think of ways to just improve upon anything he spearheads. So his clamps, you know, they're a different design. They're definitely designed to compete with the flex bars and the Mako clamp. But, you know, the flex bars are awesome. They have a great reputation. They've been around for a long time. I really have never seen Mako clamps in person, but Mostly put a lot of time and went back to the drawing board over and over and a lot of R&D into those clamps. So for the people that grabbed them over the sale, and they're still on sale, I think everybody's going to be pretty stoked with them. And I'm definitely hoping to do kind of a short install video just sharing the clamps more up close and just, you know, kind of showing how they go together and everything. I've ridden with them, well, for the bulk of the summer. I put them on mid-summer and then going into the fall, and they're a really natural feeling product. It's weird. You see what they can do, and I remember just like, wow, I don't know if I would like that. And then I go out and ride with it all day, and you don't really feel it moving. I literally have felt the bars move a couple times where I was like, wow, like I actually felt them move. But it was under like a real hard biased one tire rear impact landing from a jump, and the damping was awesome, I thought. So I like the look of just kind of like a standard bar with a bar pad, and Mostly made a really nice bar pad. It's actually like the nicest foam I've ever seen, and he actually had I want to say an accident, or at least he hit his face on his handlebars on his dirt bike a long time ago, and he got hurt pretty bad. So that bar pad that he made for this is definitely made to like be protective as well. It's super like flush and form fitting. It's pretty sharp. He did a really good job. There's that comment. Is Connor your son?
That's ridiculous.
No, so
5 years apart.
you know, it is interesting. I guess I don't blame people for thinking that because, you know, a lot of the times we don't see our faces, so you don't really know how old you are. And I do kind of, you know, I'm checking on you like that, but I mean, it's kind of more of a team thing, you know, are we all together? Connor, I graduated high school with Connor's brother, Bruce, and Connor is his younger brother, so he's a couple years younger than me. And, no, he would just, I'm still really good friends with Bruce, and, Connor was looking to get involved with what I had going on, and I needed help with the social media and the website, so he's just kind of worked his way in. And Connor's first ride ever is on the channel. It's, I want to say, what's that video called? The Florida video?
February, it's like, yeah, I don't know, something with Hermosi.
Yeah, I cannot remember. It's
Connor's
what
first ride.
it might even be called like Connor's first ride. I think it's in the title. But he rode he rode Hermosi's essentially like Walsh YFC that was the first quad he ever rode. Well, no, he rode the Raptor for like a couple hundred feet and was like, let's get Connor off the Raptor. We'll have him ride the YFC. But no, it's just crazy with how much limited ride time you have, how far you have came riding. I mean, it's pretty wild. It's not like you've had like instruction or training. You've just been like surviving. Well, you switched from surviving to actually riding with us, which is cool. And that's made it fun. So, yeah. Let's see. May 1st. I see a comment on the GoPro. 20 minutes of riding and filming, I dropped the SD card. Oh, dang, you lost your SD card. I was going to say, I do see people that get frustrated with GoPros. If I had one advice for those things, make sure your batteries are like at least, I want to say 50% or more when you're filming. They're pretty finicky in the cold, which is why the cold filming content and stuff for me is a bit of a struggle. You know, it's just important to keep the battery life up. I've seen the stabilization turn off on GoPros once you get below 50%. It's very rare and unlikely, but I've just had weird stuff happen. I have like 15-ish batteries that I'll charge up before a ride and bring with, and I'll kind of be swapping those batteries out almost every time we stop, unless I really know I have enough battery life. That's why I like love riding when it's really warm, because the batteries last the longest. But it's just important to keep your batteries fresh in your GoPros, otherwise the screens will freeze and you'll just get audio. That's happened to me plenty of times. Like I said, the stabilization can turn off. It's just important to just keep them fresh. But I've put them through the beating. I have 3 of them that I use, and one of them just, man, it's looking pretty rough. Would not recommend 720 clamps with flex bars. I don't think you can actually even run them. I don't think they would even work as far as fitting. But yeah, you have to draw the line when it comes to anti-vibe. If you overdo it, you're just going to be like holding on to a marshmallow. It's just not gonna go well. You'll be so disconnected. I see a lot of Brandon support in here. That's really good. We want the best for him. Let's see. Honda Power Sports. Wait a second. What's this guy saying? Is he doing conspiracies? Honda Power Sports sent out emails to Honda owners giving them a chance to deposit for a new TRX coming out the next year. Well, that's the first I've heard of anything like that, and I would love for that to be true. So if it is, I would assume we'll hear more about it. But as far as there being another manufacturer on the scene, it seems like Honda would be like the main logical person that would go up against Yamaha. I remember in the side-by-side scene, the way all those came out and progressed, I want to say Honda kind of entered the game last, and I think someone had told me like that's kind of typical of Honda, to kind of see what everybody else is doing and then to make sure they come out with something that's the best. And Honda has just epic reliability. It would just be so great. I have heard, you know, talking to various people that there was essentially an EFI, you know, TRX that was ready to go. It might have even been aluminum framed. I don't know all the details. It's kind of rumor speculation. But yeah, I know that Honda was going to answer back to the YFCR, but when the recession hit, 2008 and everything, it's just the last couple years after 2008, things just dwindled really fast. It's just kind of crazy to see how it all went away. I mean, there's that Epic Dirt Wheels article. It's like a cover of a Dirt Wheels magazine of all the manufacturers. I think there's like, what, 6 or 7 quads? And they had a huge 450 shootout. Like, you should definitely, if you have not seen the Dirt Wheels 450 shootout, just the pictures from back then. Like, it is so cool to see all these stock quads, all brand new. They're all so different looking. They're all different colors. Just awesome. More people in here. Oh, I see Raptor Life. What's up, Tyrese? I'm glad you're here. I see the sheesh. Oh, that was so nuts. I can't believe how much that was said. Let's see. Favorite brand of riding gear? I've always ran Thor gear, I guess. Who knows why that started? I guess their marketing got me as a teenager. Just thought it looked cool, sounded cool. Thor. It's kind of funny. I guess when it comes to riding gear, I'm not really too biased towards anything. I have these that set of O'Neill gear. I really like that gear. It really depends on all my gear is like a different model line, so like they're all different thicknesses and stuff. So I definitely have like favorite gear for light weather, but I would like to try some different stuff. Actually, Ian with Square One Speed Channel runs FXR gear, and I'm pretty sure they're a Minnesota-based company. And I thought about that a couple weeks ago, that maybe reach out to FXR and see if I can get in with some of their stuff. So we'll see what I end up trying. I procrastinated so hard on getting a helmet. The main reason I got a new helmet was because Hermosi pushed for it. I had like my original motovlog set up on my old helmet that has been through a couple accidents that I shouldn't have been riding with, but I was just so hesitant to change it. I don't know why I was worried about changing the helmet. I was just like, what if the angle's not the same? What if it doesn't look good? So I ended up, now I run that O'Neill helmet. It's kind of a, not quite entry level, but it still wasn't crazy expensive. I think it's like a $200 helmet. I mean, this stuff gets expensive if you want to buy carbon stuff. The O'Neill helmet I have right now, I'm running a dangle mount on, and that's been, I'm trying to think of when that switched. Probably early summer was when I switched to using the dangle mount, and I love that mount. It fits on that helmet really well. I have unfortunately seen the dangle mount fall off of other friends' helmets depending on how thick like the bash plate is. You kind of need a pretty thick frontal plate on your helmet or the bash guard in order for that thing to really clamp down on it tightly. I know Brewers use the Pro Shot mount, I think. Those look pretty slick too. Yeah, I guess that was riding gear kind of. Goggles that I use. I've had a couple pairs of 100% goggles. I remember when I got back into riding, it was so weird. I had just like a 4 or 5 year hiatus, but when I got back into riding again, late 2018, I was just like, the first thing I did was look for Pro Armor parts. No Pro Armor parts. Like where are these brands? And I remember I saw the 100% goggles. And I was like, I've never heard 100%, but I guess my dealer had them in the case, and I was like, oh, I'll try those. So those look pretty cool. So I know Rossier, he had made some. He had goggles come out. So there might be a set of goggles in one of these new exhaust pipes that I have. So yeah, I guess the main thing with goggles is to just keep the foam fresh. Otherwise, you get so much dust in your eyes. Someone had asked about editing. I've edited every video on the YouTube channel. Connor has helped condense for a lot of the mini videos on Instagram, but I've edited everything for the channel, and I guess am kind of protective of that. It would be interesting to have someone help edit, but I also know that all those big videos, my most complicated project that I actually left the project and then went back to it months later was my Snake Creek ride. I call it a dual moto vlog, and that was with Mike. And he was on his KFX 450, and we recorded the entire ride from my helmet and his helmet, and I don't know, there was at least 5 hours of video. It took me like 60, 70 hours at least to make that video. I was so sick of watching it that I had to take a break from it, and that video is an hour long, but it really is like the ride day from both our perspectives and combining it all together. It was just nuts. It was a cool project, but it was hard. I'd like to try more of them, but they just take so long. It's a lot of work. Let's see. Do I miss the KTM? It's so interesting. It's been so long since I've ridden that thing. I don't really remember what it felt like to ride. The guy that has it now actually has several KTMs, and I remember I had mentioned to him, like, I'd love to come and ride it again someday. I think mine, which was kind of a roller at the time, the motor was pretty fried, but the KTM was a lot of fun to ride. I told him, it'd be great to ride it. He said it might become kind of a parts donor. I don't really know what the status of my old KTM is, but it's only about an hour from here if he still has it. So maybe someday I can meet up with those guys and he could share his KTM collection. He's got, I think, 4 of them, and then he's got a bunch of quad racers too. So the KTM was really cool. That quad scared me for the first month I had it because I went from a Scrambler 500, which is like 570 pounds, I think, over 500 pounds. It was like going from like a V6 Mustang to like a Ferrari or like a Lamborghini. Like the KTM was just insane. It was so wild. If you get the chance to ride one, you should definitely ride one. But I think the most time I ever got out of a motor was, man, maybe 75-ish hours. It would need a top end. So at the very least, went through a couple bottom ends with it. That quad, that chassis probably had 300 or 400 hours on it by the time it was sold. So it was cool. There's some old videos of me riding it on the channel if you want to go back in time. Man, there's some conversation in here.
I'm gonna take off, I think.
Yeah, I think we'll probably finish up the stream here in a little bit, but do a 2-stroke quad build. I would love to have a 2-stroke, just because it is like when I made the couple 250R videos I had, like I can listen to those things just all day. Just such a different sound. So that's why I definitely am eager to ride a Banshee. Just get one that's fairly stock with just a nice set of pipes on it. But the 2-strokes just sound fantastic. I know it can't be like a total nightmare to maintain one. You just got to stay on top of it. But it'd be really fun to get one. I mean, even something as simple as like a blaster would be pretty fun to toot around on. But yeah, definitely. If I were to think of the next machine, it would be kind of hard to get something other than a 2-stroke. It'd be great to do the 250R, but they're really going up in value. If anything, should try to score one before they're really expensive. Let's see. I had the KTM you saw at Little Sahara. Oh, okay. I remember, yeah, there was like, I want to say at least, for sure, the one KTM at Little Sahara. There might have been another one. But, yeah, awesome machines, man. They have a lot of, like, presence, the KTM does. See why if she's leaving. Thanks for the donations, man. I think we will end up kind of wrapping up the stream here. This is something that I've been meaning to do more, and unfortunately just have gotten away from it, and try to make it a little more of a regular thing so that I can try to answer questions for you guys. I do know that there's a lot of people that ask me about, Raptor versus YFC, which one do I buy? I think I've had enough experience with the YFC now that I feel like I can pretty much make a good video talking about the strengths and weaknesses of both machines. So that's something I'll try to prioritize this winter, as far as just talking about those quads and maybe helping some of you guys decide which one you'd want to buy or which would be best for you. Let's see here. Any more kind of questions coming in here? A question about the XC racing, maybe someday, but just need to keep myself in one piece so I can keep traveling and riding. And I'm a competitive person, so I would just hate to wrap myself around a tree and get a little ahead of myself. But yeah, maybe someday. Stay tuned for probably some more parts type stuff that we're going to aspire for in the next couple months. Definitely hoping to get some things on order. Going to make some wish lists here and see what's all available. I've been meaning to get like beadlock rims, but like rims are super tough to get depending on who you're looking to go through. I mean, there's just stuff that's still hard to get. So we'll see what we can put together in the coming couple months. Aspiring for a Florida trip, mid-February-ish maybe, sometime around that time frame to get out of the cold. Still have the Hermosi sale going on our website through the 6th, and that's 25% off clamps and throttles right now. So if you've ever wanted them, I don't know if there'll be another sale anytime soon, so definitely take advantage of that. As far as anything else goes, like I said, we'll just be trying to get some of these parts in motion, and also gonna... I did move into a new place a while back, and I've never shared the garage space that we have, but I'm hoping to kind of do more parts stuff here and just sharing and talking about parts. So I think we're gonna kind of work on getting the garage set up a bit more. So you guys will see that hopefully in the coming weeks as well. And yeah, just one thing at a time. And it's going into the off season, but as soon as we get some snow, man, I'm gonna get the tires out and maybe we'll do some studded tire action. It'd be great to do a river ride this winter. See what's going on with that. And yeah, we're just gonna have some fun here going into the off season because I didn't really make any riding content in the snow last year. So big thanks to everybody in the chat. I wish I could keep answering questions. I think like I said, we're gonna try to do this. I need to do this at least once a month, so we'll try to get on here more. I really appreciate all the support from all you guys. Like seriously, you guys keep this going. I'm super excited for next year, kind of going back to the drawing board with some things and just getting amped up. So this is kind of the beginning of that, and I guess we'll see what happens. So thank you again for all the support. You guys have a good one, man. Stay safe, and I guess we'll catch you on the next stream. So I really appreciate it.